Showbiz Productions, the leader in the gaming night industry, will make your next party one of the most unique, exciting, and memorable entertainment experiences you've ever attended. For the last 20 years, the staff at Showbiz Productions has been able to turn otherwise mundane gatherings into Monte Carlo days and Las Vegas nights, where your guests feel like they are the rich and famous vacationing on the Riviera. Our professional staff and our casino caliber equipment gives the authentic feel any consummate gambler would fancy.
We have the large 14-foot crap tables as well as the big 32-inch roulette wheels. Our blackjack tables come complete with the heavy clay chips as well as your card shoes, your discards. Also, we have an excellent group of croupiers. The croupiers are, of course, the dealers, and they all do a really good job. They're very accommodating with the games.
Our philosophy at Showbiz Productions is to ensure your guests have the time of their lives, and they don't have to be high rollers to enjoy the Showbiz Production experience. In fact, they don't have to know a boxcar from a snake eyes.
Everyone seems to really enjoy themselves at our functions because our dealers have been trained in real casinos in many cases, but they've also understand that people that come to our events are not gamblers per se, and they need to be taught how to play some of the games, and our dealers are fantastic at teaching them the games. They make it unintimidating, and they make it friendly and fun, and everybody just has a great time.
I didn't know how to play craps, and I grew up in Atlantic City, only knew how to play roulette, and thanks to Steve, Showbiz Productions, I'm winning.
I won a lot of money. I learned how to play blackjack. That's 21. No, tonight was my first night playing.
We want to ensure your guests have a great time. And to do that, we make every one of them feel special. Because if you're planning a special party, you should make sure that party is better than anything they've ever experienced.
We have a lot of companies that we do where law firms, the mailroom person is at the same table with the lawyer, and it's a great equalizer. They can all play together, they're all equal, and they're all playing against the dealer, and it creates a lot of camaraderie across the table.
Their fun won't need to be limited to the gambling tables. We have dozens of arcade and carnival games to give your guests the variety of fun that they want, including pool tables, foosball, miniature golf courses, and basketball games. In fact, you don't have to limit yourself to our casino night themes.
We have a speakeasy, which is a very fun-spirited theme. We have the more elegant Monte Carlo theme. We also do a casual Western theme. And we have a cruise ship as well, so we can certainly create the environment for your guests to play and enjoy and have a lot of fun at our events.
Whatever can be dreamed up, our designers and builders can accommodate your every whim. Regardless of whether you're having a private party, corporate fundraiser, or whether you're a group of 25 or 2,500, we have numerous suggestions and ideas to help you work within your budget. Our special events coordinators are familiar with the top facilities, and they take care of every detail, which enables you, the client, to relax and enjoy your special function as if you were a guest.
Well, we certainly can walk our clients through each one of the events, explaining how the events will be run. We can help them with their prize giveaways at the end of the evening. Some people choose to go with a raffle. Some people choose to go with an auction. Some people go with a gift store. And these are all things we can set up for our clients. We can also custom print play money with their company logo or someone's picture on it if it's a party for some individual, and basically walk them through the entire event, make it a very smooth running party for them, so they can be a guest at their own party.
I like coming to events like this because I can play the games, I can get money, there's a chance I might win something, and it's all in the confines of my friends and my coworkers, and it's really great.
You go to Vegas, you lose a lot of money, you lose a lot of real money. You come here, you lose money, it's not like it's coming out of your pocket, so it makes it a lot more fun that way.
Don't let your next party be an average party. Make it a party to be remembered. Call us today at Showbiz Productions and let the fun begin.
Hey guys, I'm super excited to be here right now. We are here with our member spotlight for NACPO on the one and only, needs no introduction, Steve Phillips, the godfather of it all. He was one of the first founding members of NACPO. first 5 for the meeting. We're going to talk about that first time that it went down. We're gonna learn everything we can from the past and see where Steve's taking us in the future. Welcome to it, Steve and Scott. Nice to see you as well.
Nice seeing you. And Steve, you were 13 when you filmed that video, right?
That's right. That's right. I love watching that video. I haven't seen that in years.
It's a great one.
I like that little blonde in there. But I'd like to bring her back.
Great start.
Well, we did that video. I did trade with America's Most Wanted. And there was this, we shot a scene for them. It took all day. I mean, I'd never done a real professional TV shoot, I'd done a lot of other shoots, but this one we did, there was this couple that were stealing chips off the rail. They were doing things. They were like a Thelma and Louise couple. And we staged the casino in a bar at the Marriott in Bethesda, and they took out the whole bar all day. I mean, they had the rolling cameras. They did the whole thing, and we did it on trade. I used to do a lot of things on trade because when you do trade, you get new clients. You get people who maybe wouldn't have done a casino before. I used to be part of a trade network, but we did this on direct trade with them, and in turn, they did the video, and we shot it and it was a fun piece. I think it came out really well. It's a little dated, but it's funny the way.
I think that adds to the charm, for sure.
Yes.
So even watching it today, so
yeah.
Definitely does add to the charm. I feel like it's it's amazing. That was so high quality when you came out with that video. Like that was like a TV
cutting edge
video.
1992.
Well, it was a professional. It was a professional shoot. It was the crew of America's Most Wanted. I mean, they came out and we brought in their people to do a party, and we shot the thing for their segment on TV, and it was a good trade. It was really a good trade.
And I love that. I love that you did that's something that I feel like all of us still are doing now, right? Like we're still doing things with going into barter and this and that. But
right.
I feel like that was so far ahead of the curve as you've been with so many of the other things in this industry, right?
Well, I kind of had to invent things because like nobody else. I didn't have anybody to talk to. I didn't have nobody else in my area was doing it. There was one company in Virginia a couple of years later, but I didn't know what to do, so I kind of had to figure it out. That's what was great about NACPO, the fact that there were other people. I mean, when I came in back then, if I wanted to see what somebody else was doing, when I would visit another city, the first thing I would do is I would get in the hotel and I'd pull out the drawer that had the Bible, and next to the Bible was the Yellow Pages, and I'd look up gaming, and you would find whoever was maybe doing a casino in that town, and I'd contact them, I'd call them and talk to them. At one point, you couldn't. There was no internet. There was no way of finding anything back then. I mean, you had to know somebody or know a guy who knew somebody. And I went to the Library of Congress one day, and I looked through the Yellow Pages all over the country, so I could find. That's where you had to go to find somebody who was doing casino parties. And I remember very early in my career, I went out to Vegas because I like to go to. I was a little bit of a player back in the day. I mean, it was the big '80s, and I had some money, and casinos were sometimes fun. So I went to Paulson, the big distributor, and they wouldn't sell me anything. Nah, you're not a casino. So people didn't believe that. People wanted real casino equipment to do fun nights. I think originally Harrah's put out something they called a Harrah's night, and it was a little paper package where you'd lay the things on the table, and it was trying to promote people to go out to I guess they were in Tahoe and Reno at the time, and it was called a Harrah's night, and that was it. They were like paper layouts that you could sit and play on. So eventually, I did find a guy who in Yonkers, New York, who was making layouts, and it was, there were some illegal games that were going on, and they assumed that, hey, what are you playing? Where are you playing? Where's your game? Nobody was really doing it for fun, So I remember I took a trip after I'd been doing it a couple of years, and I kind of got the equipment, and I kind of had the dealers. The dealers were really hard to find back then because you had to get somebody who had probably gotten kicked out of Reno or Vegas or something, or maybe had just left Atlantic City. And it was really hard to get trained people. So I got a guy, the guy who trained me, his name was Gordon Murray. and he was a cheat from Vegas, and he got kicked out of Vegas as soon as they had the camera. That was the end of his game. I mean, he showed me all kind of things. I used to sew a pocket in my apron and go south with the chips and all this stuff, you know. And he had some great stories because there was apparently an illegal game circuit, and there were certain cities that I'd never heard of, Steubenville, Ohio, and Newport, Kentucky, and Pinehurst, North Carolina, and they followed the racetrack circuit to Louisiana, to New Orleans, and Hot Springs, and they had this little circuit of illegal games, you know, and that's what he learned. And he was like, "Yeah, hey kid, I can teach you how to cheat." And I was like, "Yeah, I want the people to win, you know. I want them to have fun, you know." So you know, I had the equipment, and I got this guy to train me to be a dice dealer and learn the games, and I trained people. I ran schools everywhere I went. I would go to I would do these colleges, and they would have volunteer dealers, and to me that was great. That was, you know, a great ground to get new dealers, you know. So
Yeah.
I would always, you know, train them, and then after I train them, you know, I would hire them. Fortunately, you know, your holiday season, they're all on break or finals or something. But I had a couple of good groups. I had a good group at Howard. I had a good group at American University. I had a sorority in American University where I taught these girls. And I had this one girl, I'd call her up if she didn't get there. They did. And at one point, I went to a modeling studio. These were like kind of wannabe models. And I trained them, and they really looked good. I mean, they showed up. I mean, it was very classy. They showed up in leotards and a halter tuxedo shirt. And I was the talk of the town in D.C. I mean, I was doing all the major fundraisers. And at some point, I realized when I saw a guy write a check for $1,000 to buy chips, this is like 1982, you know, and I'm
Yeah.
like, you know, there's potential here to raise money too. I mean, the great thing about what we do is I always felt that I'm doing good and I'm doing well, you know, because aside from the fact that, you know, I've made a living, I've kept a business, you know, keeping a business afloat for 47 years is an accomplishment in itself. And the fact that I've raised millions of dollars for I don't know how many charities, you know, I mean, who can say that besides like a Bill Gates or somebody that you've raised millions of dollars for? And you name the charity, I've done it. Every disease out there, and high schools and colleges. I sent the Gulf Coast band to for the parade in Thanksgiving Day parade up in New York City. I've done churches. I mean, you name it. I've raised money for them. So.
Tell me a little bit about this one, the $1 billion bash. What was going on here?
That was maybe the second biggest party I did, and it was in St. Pete, and they had 1,000 people, and we had, you know,
that was like a 3-4 day setup, right?
It was. It took days to set up, and I brought my equipment down from Maryland and my equipment from Florida, and I worked with somebody else in Florida to set it all up and get it all together. And the hard part was it was on a Tuesday, and it was in the afternoon, and most of my people, you know, a lot of them at work. You know, you got to get them on to find 100 people on a Tuesday afternoon was not the easiest chore. I think the hardest one I ever did was I did a job for ExxonMobil before they moved their offices to Texas. They had an office in Arlington, Virginia, and they had a holiday party on a Saturday night in December, and it was 125 tables and 150 dealers. So, and I mean, on a Saturday night in DC, you can't even park your car. I mean, it was just, you know, there's so many things going on. So what I did is I ran some gaming schools, a couple gaming schools at that hotel. So number one, people would know where to go. Number two, people would be in the neighborhood, you know, so they could walk to the hotel. I tried to get some people who were like in the neighborhood, could get there on a Saturday night and make it happen. So that was probably the most difficult job I did. I remember I was staying in the hotel that night, and there was some sort of protest. Something was going on. Somebody had gotten shot somewhere, and there was a protest right in front of the hotel, and they decided to have a die-in, and they're laying in the street. And I'm looking from the hotel window. I said, "Great, they're laying on Connecticut Avenue." Okay, how am I going how am I going to make this thing happen? Okay,
Yeah.
no, nothing's moving. They're late on Connecticut Avenue, and I got lucky. It started to rain, and nobody wanted to lay in the street when it was raining, so the protest
Yeah,
kind of
watched
moved
out the
on.
protest.
It washed him right away. And I mean, we've been in a lot of sticky situations, a lot of things over the years. But you know, I don't know how many jobs I've done, maybe 10,000, and I can count on the fingers of one hand the ones that didn't quite go. So I think it's a pretty good percentage. You know, I
No,
mean,
that's a
some
great
people.
percentage.
You know, there's just been a couple that, I mean, I've driven a truck that a van that got wrecked in an accident. The two guys went to the hospital, but they were okay. I think one wanted to go for insurance, and I just took the keys and I drove what was left of the van to a boat in Baltimore, the Spirit of Baltimore. And I mean, this thing was dragging metal and stuff. I mean, I got there, you know, because the show's got to go on. I mean, this to me is it's like a military mission.
That's
You got to
showbiz,
get
baby.
there. You got to get there. And I went to the Spirit of Baltimore. So we went downtown, and I had these two Russian guys who I knew were always available, Iliad and Alex. And I called them up and said, hey, man, you got to help me get this stuff out of the truck. The doors won't open, you know, because the back door was all the way mashed in. We managed to
Got
get
him
it
in
out
there
the
prying
side
with a
door.
crowbar.
We got the equipment out and we set it up, and then we were just a little bit late, and the client was, you know, hold the boat, and we got everything on, and off we went. So I mean,
Wow.
I've got a ton of fun, exciting stories to making things happen. You know, and
I don't think this could be a one-time series. You're gonna have to continue this.
You know?
Let people know about your YouTube channel as well, because I feel like
Yeah.
you've been doing a great job. Even though you started in and I want to go back to the beginning, because we didn't even get there yet. But 1979 was the beginning. But you're still innovating and doing things above the curve, where you get a ton of traction on your YouTube channel. What is the name of that?
Well, it's our Showbiz channel, and you can go to our, you know, the Showbiz website and scroll on the YouTube. I mean, we're close to 600,000 views, over 5,000 subscribers. For some reason, people like hearing an old man talk about, you know, how to play roulette and stuff, you know. But you know, I think in the last couple, I've promoted fun nights, and I've told them at the end is, you know, hey, casinos can be fun, they can be not fun, but fun nights are always fun. You know,
Yeah.
you know, you have a fun night. I mean, believe me, I've worked in a casino. I've spent a lot of time in casinos, and I understand, you know, what goes on there, and I understand what goes on at what we do, and it's the same thing, but it's two entirely different worlds. I mean, we're in a fantasy, and the people are playing for fun, and you know, I do my chips in thousands. I know most people do regular dollars, but it's a fantasy. I don't want anybody to think they got dollars. They think it's regular dollars. So I do
Someone
my
coming up
chips
to the
in
cashier
thousands.
at the end. Hey, give me my money. You know,
I've had that. I've had that.
I'm sure you have.
So I do it in thousands, and they can have $1 million in chips, and I raise the price of the raffle tickets or whoever. You know, I like to make them millionaires. I like for them to have fun and learn the games and enjoy the games, and all in the spirit of fun. You know, they're playing each other, and without suffering the consequences of being in a casino.
Yeah,
You know?
and that's why we do what we do, right? Like, I feel like our mission is to bring happiness and good times to people,
Absolutely.
without the downswings of all the of the casino,
and give them that little taste of the high life without the crash. You know, it's definitely it's nice.
And I always say the great thing about what we do is we get them out of these things. I mean, they're on these things all day, and I'm guilty myself. I might have an app or two that I'm betting a game or something, but I mean, they're on these things constantly, and they're on their Instagram, they're on their Facebook, they're looking for likes, or they're making a video, or they're doing something, and they're not communicating with each other. Okay.
Yeah, Steve likes to call us the original social network.
I do.
I
do. They put these things down, and they're really talking to each other. You know, it's funny. One of the first bar mitzvahs I did, I really had to convince this lady. She says, "Oh, it's gambling. It's kids. Their parents aren't sending them." And then she wrote me a letter, and I still have that letter to this day. I think it was 1984. I still have that letter. How the kids communicated with each other. They were learning skills. They were learning communication skills. They were learning math skills. They were learning strategy skills, and they were learning that gambling usually ends up with empty pockets too. So I mean, it was like all lessons that were well taught and well learned. And I've actually shown that letter to people who are hesitant about, I don't know about, you know, the kids playing. You know, I'm going to
Yeah.
warn you, you don't want to post those bar mitzvah photos on your website. Okay.
It gets a little sticky.
That might get the wrong sort of traction.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny? If you put those type of pictures on your promos or anything, it'll get demonetized or taken down because you can't have kids in photos. So you're always better off giving the 21 and over events the shine. And then when you talk to somebody, right, you could send them this is something that goes on there. Now, I want to get back to Showbiz Productions, right? You come from a background before casinos. Showbiz was your life. So tell us about pre-casinos, how your family and your mom was in the business, and then what was the inspiration to get into casinos?
Well, my mom was an entertainer, and she worked for an agent, and the agent passed, and she started to book the entertainers. And at the time, she was booking, I mean, there were small-time shows, you know, she'd have a comedian, she had the things you'd see on YouTube now, like the girl who played the spoon. She had a guy named Nicky David. He was the paddleball champion of the world. She had the animal acts. Yeah, she had a singing pig. I don't want to tell you how the guy made the pig sing because I was standing behind him, but she had a wide variety of entertainers. Again, things you'd see on YouTube today, and it kind of developed over the years where she met some agents in New York, and she started to book bigger shows and bigger name entertainers. It wasn't just like the Elks Club thing. She started to book like one of her big clients was the Poet Society, and she had these big auditoriums full of people, and she booked people like Johnny Cash and Charlie Daniels Band and John Denver, and I mean they were the big names. So I kind of grew up setting up stages and setting up lights and working the spotlight and thing and picking up entertainers at the airport and the train station and taking them to the job. You know, at the time when I first started, you know, she didn't want to go to all the jobs. She says, "I'll give you $100," you know, and then I was like, you know, like 20 years old, $100, I'd have killed somebody. You want me to go to this job and you want me to fine, you know. So I did, and I learned, and eventually, you know, I'd get on stage and I'd bring them on stage, and I would do whatever I had to do, you know, and get the money from the client. It was funny though. Quick digress. There was a comedian. I thought the guy was hilarious, you know. And I came, you know, and I collected the check and I gave it to him. She says, "How was that?" I said, "It was great. It was fantastic." Well, the committee chairman called her Monday and said the guy was horrible. You know, they hated him. Wow. And I was like, she told me at the time, she says, "You know what? Next time you go to one of my shows, okay, I want you to look at the audience. I don't want you to look at the entertainers." I says, "I don't care if you like them. I want to know what the audience thinks." So it was a valuable lesson. And then when I started doing these casinos, I would look around at the audience because I never thought I could get away with this. I just playing for fun and drive to Atlantic City. I opened my business in '79. Atlantic City started in '78. I thought I was like, I don't think this is going to fly, you know. Yeah. And I started to look at the audience. I was like, my God, these people are really having a great time. They're really having fun. And you know, they're playing for fun. And they're learning the games if they don't know how to play. If they do know how to play, I had real dealers who could handle all the action. So I mean, it was just it's a fun night. It's a fun business. I've enjoyed what I've done. I mean, I go to these parties, and you know, I might not, you know, there's an old country song. I might not be as good as I once was, but on any given night, I'm as good as I ever was. So I can go out there, and if it's a good party, man, I can give them a good show, you know, and I bring in good dealers, and you know, we're on time, we're set up, you know, I always tell my people, I have people, we go in Washington, you have to travel around the Beltway and through the city, and it can just be a nightmare. And my guys, I have them leave the warehouse at 2 o'clock to an 8 o'clock job, and they go, "What are you doing, man? We got to sit around for hours." I go, "Yeah, you can be sitting around for hours on the highway too, and I'm not going to have a ballroom with 200 people looking for the guy, you know, with the casino equipment, you know." So if you're sitting around, you're on my clock, just don't worry about it, you know.
Absolutely. So, that's a great lesson. Like, you're giving a lot of jewels here because a lot of us had to learn those lessons. Like the newer members in NACPO who haven't had the opportunity to be like, "Oh, we'll be fine. We'll be there an hour ahead of the party to set up."
Right. Yeah. Well, being early is being on time. Being on time is being late.
Absolutely. Very true. Totally agreed. And let's bring this up real fast. Here is the first card
That was my first business card, and I was so proud of that because it's hard to explain, what you did. And I had this guy call me and says, "I make picture cards." I said, "Well, that's a good idea." And he come out and he did a shoot. I mean, it was a big deal to get a picture and do a thing. So, and you could kind of just give that card to people, and they had a better understanding of what you do. Oh, you do casino parties, and you got I was so proud. I had a wooden roulette wheel. When I first bought my business, I got like a Bakelite thing with a marble in it or something. I mean,
Yeah.
here, I had a real wheel and a real layout, and I was very proud of that.
That's something to be proud of.
Made it
Even
to the big
today, I
leagues.
feel like. Yeah, the big leagues are getting that full size wheel, right? That was
Yeah.
you on the first one of that. We have a picture before your first card too.
that was his first casino party. It was Fred and Wilma's wedding.
I was a tough gig because you had to carry a club. They were really unruly crowd.
Which is amazing. You really have been around like through it all. So tell us about the first NACPO meeting, the first time that you were one of the original 5, right? The 5 founding fathers.
I was one of the original 5. There was the guy from Vegas, Marty Wolf. It took me a second to figure him. Marty Wolf, he had some equipment. He was trying to sell it, and his idea was, we'll get all these casino companies together and we'll do this. And I don't think it worked out much for him, but for me, man, I walked in that room, and I hadn't been with other people who had done casinos. I mean, I walked in that room like I had 10 brothers. Okay, it was just a mind blow. And they were people who were also the pioneers in their area. There was Rick Walker out of Portland. There was Scott Wilder out of Austin. There was Mary Jo from Minneapolis. There was Joe Messino from Richmond, who came a little after me. And it was just to exchange ideas with those people and kind of fine tune. It was really powerful. It was a wow for me. I was like, I'm coming back to this thing every year. I don't care where I gotta go.
I think so many people take for granted now. They can just go online and find something on like Reddit or ask ChatGPT, but like, back then you really had to like start from scratch with a lot of things.
It was no internet. Internet. I mean, you had to find things. You had to know somebody. You knew somebody.
Yeah.
That's how a lot of this was. You had a Yellow Page ad. I mean, people don't even think about the Yellow Pages anymore. And then the Yellow Page person would come in and they would get your ad. You want a dollar bill size, you want a whole page, you want red, you want color, you want this. I mean, that was it.
Yeah.
It was that, and it was word of mouth. And it was word of mouth. I would go to the NACE meetings, Association of Catering Executives, the hotel sales management. I would go to all these mixers so people got to know who I was and what I was. People, and it's still a good thing today to go to these things. I don't go to too many anymore, to be honest with you, but it is a good thing to go to these things, these chambers and so forth, because people do business with people they know. Fortunately, a lot of people know me. They know what I'm going to do. They know I'm going to produce, and they know I'm going to bring the goods.
Yeah, proof some pudding.
Yeah, you 100% do, and it's funny because from my perspective, right? So I'm newer to the whole NACPO world, but when I was listening to you talk last year, I was like, it feels like I'm looking in like a mirror of a time machine, because we went through like a parallel course, because we went through the same, like having to learn because we didn't do it. But I was like, wow, there's so much more to learn. And I feel like there's a lot of people out there that watching this interview, they might not have had like a tenth of the experiences you had in the first 2 years. So imagine how many experiences you've had in the following. How many years is it total right now in business?
In business, 47 years.
47 years.
I think just to survive in any business, 47 years. I don't know. I mean, I feel like I'm doing the victory lap now. So, I mean, it's been a really good run. I mean, I mean, there were moments where, running any business. I mean, running what we do, it's kind of like a military operation. I mean, you gotta have reconnaissance. Okay, you gotta have a motor pool. You gotta have troops. You gotta be able to put them in position. You have all sorts. You have to be ready. You have to have a plan B in case something goes down. But you don't want to put too much effort into plan B because it takes away from plan A. So I mean, you got there's
definitely a whole balancing act for sure.
It's not the easiest business in the world, to be honest with you, but to me, it's very gratifying. I like to entertain people. I still like going to these parties. I mean, I'm in Naples now, and I go to some of these country clubs. I'm one of the young guys, you know. So
I mean, whippersnapper.
I am. I look around the room. I say, these guys, you know, they're older than me, you know.
Which is amazing.
But still bringing people a good time. It is amazing, no doubt about it. But I'm still bringing a good time to these people, and you know, I like it. They're fun parties. I mean, I've gone to the finest hotels, the finest country clubs. I mean, I've been to them all. Maybe I went through the loading dock, but I got in, you know. So
that's a great statement. That's one of my favorite lines from this interview so far, right?
Yeah. And the other thing about NACPO that I want to say, and any association, anytime you can be with people, I mean, there's no ceiling on learning. I learn from Tom. I learn from everybody I talk to. You know, everybody. You know, I kind of pick up something. Well, I didn't know that, and that's a good idea. You know, so I mean, it's not like I want to be I know it all kind of guy, because I might not be the smartest guy in the room. I've just been around the longest. But I like the fact that, you know, I can exchange ideas with other people and you can learn. I mean, when the internet first started, you know, I didn't know. I got some guy at a website. I don't think he had a site map or anything. You know, all of a sudden, some DJ who's got like 3 tables in his garage is listed above me. You know, it's like, I got to do something about that. You know.
Yeah.
So I kept hiring people who like didn't know what they were doing, you know, and I mean like companies and big companies. So I think in some way, shape, or form, I kind of figured it out on my own. I actually brought in a girl and had to do some research. We read a ton of articles and kind of. I've got a guy.
And to Steve's credit, he has become the SEO guru. You know, and I'm constantly shocked by, you know, these golden nuggets that he pulls. You know, I mean, it's truly it's astounding for sure. You know, I will give credit where credit's due. So
me too, and I feel like Steve gave me some breadcrumbs. I was lucky enough to be able to take him out to dinner when we were at the last convention, and just one-on-one time with Steve to me was so valuable. And I was like, Steve doesn't teach by telling you what to do. He gives you like enough breadcrumbs to find your path, and you can decide if you want it.
Well, I do use a company who has my website now, but you know, they're kind of playing with the dolls. I'm driving the car, you know. I'm telling them what to do, and we're getting it done. I think we've got a good presence and a well established website.
Yeah, you're a well-oiled machine. Let's bring up. I want to bring this up too, because you haven't just made it through the back entrance. Check this out.
He walks the line.
Johnny Cash. But like I said, my mother used to, she got in the business and she got where she would book some of these big name entertainers and had the pleasure of spending time with these people. And these people were the giants of the industry. And it was really, I mean, I went from spending time with the spoon player to spending time with people like Johnny Cash and the big names. So it's been quite a ride. It's been a thrill ride, to be honest with you.
And you've been the one that's been like an industry standard. Tell us a little bit about this. Is you on Fox News?
Well, I was on Fox News locally, and you know, to be honest, they found me. They were looking for an authority on gaming in the area because the MGM had just opened their casino, so they wanted somebody who would, you know, who could explain a little bit about casino. And it's funny because the female in that picture, she called she says, "Oh, they got all the games. They got Russian roulette." I said, no.
We've gotten a couple clients asking for Russian roulette.
we don't carry Russian roulette. You know, that's with the gun. You know, but it was a fun interlude in the conversation. You know, and it's funny because I was there for the opening. They had a grand opening where, you know, everybody was in tuxes and things, and then 10 o'clock they opened the gates to the public and they came casino people. Yeah. And I had mentioned that the first thing you want to do when you go in there is get yourself a player's card, because this is a resort property. Not only you can get food, you can get rooms, you can get whatever you want, So as I was walking in, there was a line forming. The players, and the guy, well, I heard a guy say, "I heard on TV that you're supposed to go get a player's card first." And I said, "Yeah, it was me."
See that? That's a great feeling, right? You've been an influencer before there was influencing available.
Yeah, exactly.
And another time, I was at a roulette table, and a guy knew me from my roulette video. I said, "That's the guy. That's the guy. That's the guy who taught me how to play roulette." So
that's awesome.
The YouTube has been really fantastic, and it's drawn some traction to the website. I get a lot of inquiries to say, social media and retaining from YouTube.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of planted the kernel of casino party idea in a lot of people's heads that really wouldn't necessarily think about it before. So I think it's also been good, word of mouth.
And this is the guy right there behind that video, behind that camera, who has created a lot of that stuff. This is the guy who got me through the pandemic. Okay,
I do what I can. I do what I can.
It wouldn't be for that guy there, I don't think I'd still be in the game. I think the pandemic would have put me down. But he knew how to do those cameras. He knew how to do the Zoom, and he knew how to do all of that stuff. And the pandemic, we were as busy. After it took us a couple of months to figure it out. I was like doing the math, and I was like, geez, I think I got about 90 days left, So, something's got to break, and we hired a guy to come in and do a Zoom casino for us, and we learned from what we saw, and Scott picked that up, and he saved the day. My hat's off to him, because
thank you very much. I appreciate
He kept it alone. He kept it alone, and he kept it going in a dark, which could have been a very dark spot for me. And by the end of the pandemic, we were flourishing. We were doing all sorts of things. We had 10, 12 stations set up, and we had entertainers from Vegas that were on the Zoom. We had a game show guy I used who was on the Zoom. So it turned out to be very lucrative.
A blessing. And you know how I know you're telling the truth about that, Steve? Is when you were pointing to him, you were pointing in the opposite direction. So you had somebody guiding you.
Exactly.
So if for people that don't know, Scott is an heir to the Godfather. He's his son who is helping control the business. And your whole family has been involved, right? From your lovely wife who was in the video in the beginning.
Yeah.
If someone is in Steve's orbit, that they're somehow involved in the business. I promise you that.
Absolutely. Steve got a phone call, I think. It's funny because we were just talking about technical issues.
Yeah.
And here we are. But that's okay.
The party never stops on Steve's phone. It is a 24-hour a day merry-go-round for sure. So I think like I said, Showbiz never sleeps. So
Showbiz does not ever sleep. And this is Steve's second card, right? This is your dad's second card from...
Yes, yeah.
And I feel like it's amazing to see the progression, right? Like to see it from the first one.
You could have a whole timeline, and each pinpoint on that timeline is going to be a whole, sort of glimpse into that different time in the industry, really. So
absolutely. And we have some really fun photos. While we wait for Steve to reconnect, I'm sure he will.
He's frantically moving at this point.
He is definitely frantically moving at this point. Do you remember which photo this was from? Which award this was?
That was I think it was a couple years ago with Dan. I'm not sure the exact year now. It was maybe 5-6 years ago.
Did I lose both of you? No.
Nope. I'm still good. Steve's texting me right now. Let me get him in really quickly.
There you go. You concentrate on that. I'm going to bring up some more photos. We're going to talk more about what's going on over at NACPO. A lot of good things. And if anybody hasn't or wants to be involved in our member profile, definitely let us know. We love that we're touching on Steve, the Godfather, one of the founding members. He was in the first 5 at the original meeting of NACPO. And we have so many great members all across the country. We really appreciate all of you out there for coming in, checking in, talking to us. Make sure you check out Showbiz Productions over on YouTube, but also follow them on all the other social media. We definitely want to support each other and get to know each other. a little bit more. How's it going over there, Scott? Coming along?
It is coming along.
Slow and steady wins the race.
Slow and steady wins the race, but hopefully we get him back on the track. And
I can see he just left the studio, so he should be back in just a moment. No worries. It's all good. You know what's funny? That was the perfect testament to saying how you guided him through it. Oh, I think we got him back. Thank goodness. Here he is.
All right, I got booted.
All right, we got him.
We didn't let any dead air happen, Steve. Don't worry about it. It's okay.
Where was I before I was so rudely interrupted?
How your whole family is in the orbit of the casino industry. Your daughter's a showgirl with you sometimes. Your wife has helped you through the whole process.
My daughter played the showgirl very well, and all her little friends from college were really good at it too. So, you know, right now my wife has all the costumes. She's the showgirl mom now. So,
nice.
and she loves to talk, and this is a great outlet for her because she gets on the phone and with these people, and she can tell them everything in an enthusiastic way, and really get them excited about everything. So she's a great asset.
Which is great. I love how your whole family is part of your legacy, and you really are a legacy. Like you've made such a tremendous impact on the industry, and I feel like so many of us look up to you as far as what you bring. You know, not just your experience and knowledge, but like how you
just a quick heads up, Tom. I'm not hearing you on my end.
Oh no, now it's me. Let me check my mic.
If it ain't something, it's something else. It's like the military.
If anything, we learned from the pandemic. So
we have to learn how to adapt and overcome. It's part of that military thing in this business, you know. Now I can't hear Tom. I hear you, Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can't hear Tom. But I can keep talking because I can roll.
Oh, I know that.
But it's been fun doing these parties. I'm still enjoy doing these parties, and it's really
I mean,
really
how
been a fun ride.
How many industries can someone
everybody
still
gets
say
involved,
that?
everybody has a good time, and everybody gets to be a high roller without suffering the consequences. I like to say. You back in the action, Tom?
I think so. Am I back in the action? You tell me. Yes? No? No? Amazing. I'll be back.
Well, I get to live in Naples on this beautiful lake. I get to do the parties down here. Occasionally I go to back to Maryland and DC if I have a big client. And we do things all over the country. What I do with my parties is I like to create a theme, and we take the theme a little further. I do have a speakeasy where we have an alleyway entrance, and with the alleyway entrance, it's got a sliding peephole door, and we have girls who do the flapper costumes, and I have a guy, an actor, who greets everybody as a gangster, and then at the end of the gig, he does a Keystone Cop routine where he rates the casino and closes it, and that's how we close and give away the tickets. So it's it's fun. People like to do themes. I have a cruise ship theme where we have a gangway entrance where they come in and they board the cruise ship, and they play the games, and we have things like bingo and the horse race on the cruise ship, and we've even had a comedian. We also have a Monte Carlo. Everybody likes to play high roller and big spender, so we have a Monte Carlo archway entrance that they'll go through. And as they go through the entrance, we have the pillars with the uplights. I've got to have some white canvas palms, so it really has that Monte Carlo elegant kind of look.
And it's all about the show.
We also have a Western theme with the swinging saloon doors that they come through, and I can customize it with the saloon with our company name on the top. And they go through, and we have people. I've done the dealers in Western garb and everything else. So at one point, I had builders, and because we had to build our own table
Yep,
too, there
yep.
was no getting anything from China. I mean, we had to build the stuff. So when I had these builders, we made sets and things. And I often had these clients who like, well, we did the casino last year, but we want to do something else this year. So I created a couple of other themes. We had a sports game room where we did the pool tables, the darts, the foosball, the air hockey. So we have all that stuff, so they can do that. So, I mean, you can do a casino every year. People don't always get it. That's why I threw in the themes. Well, we'll do it a little different this year. We'll have a speakeasy, but we've also have a sports game room. We have a horse race theme. I've got the horses on rollers. I've got video horse races. We have a carnival theme. I've got a couple of carnival groups. I got some really, really nice booths, red and white striped booths that have they're the real thing, and we have some carnival games. So if they want to do something, I mean, you have that client. And once you have that client, you want to get everything you can from it.
And
So
that's a good like a good statement. I feel the same way. Like I feel like you want to give them more than just the casino. And I was
right,
checking out your website. You had so many different things, and
yeah,
you care. So like you want to make it a production. It's not just a carnival booth. You have everybody in carnival
yeah.
costuming, and you really grab them.
Yeah, and then I want to control the party. I'm going to say I'm a control freak, but when I go in, I'm booking the DJ because I got my guy. My guy knows what to play, and my guy was a dealer for me. He worked in my office. He does my game show, and he knows not to overpower the casino. If you let the client book the DJ, I mean, they're going to get some guy in there, and he's going to, he thinks it's a dance party, and
Yeah,
the DJs are only happy when they got a dance floor full of people. So I mean that,
absolutely.
and my guy knows that's not the end game. The end game is for him to play some background music and not overpower me and let my people talk. So I want to book that guy. I want to book the DJ. I want to book the Elvis. I've got two James Bonds that we use. I have a Sean Connery and a Daniel Craig, and we bring in the Bond girls and the gold sequence things. So I mean, I want to control every aspect of the party I can because I remember doing a walkthrough with the caterer, and I was trying to sell the client some extra tables. I mean, you always want to make friends with these caterers, and the sales managers and the people in the hotel because they're the ones that can give you business. But I think this particular one had kind of overstepped when I was trying to sell them extra tables. She's trying to sell them food, and she says, "Well, this is an eat and drink party." She told the client. And I said, "Well, I mean that's fine and dandy, but what are they going to do after they eat and drink?"
Yeah, absolutely.
You
Well, you
know,
know what? Sometimes the client doesn't know, right? Like what is best for them, and you're able to help guide them and really
that's
get
why
them.
you got to educate them.
Absolutely,
An educated consumer is a wise consumer.
absolutely.
You know, so
And that's
I
what we're
try
getting from you today, Steve. A ton of education, not only
I,
on the consumer side, but across it, right?
I try to guide them in a nice way. You know, you get these people who they're going to tell me how to run the casino. Well, we want to do this, and we want to give away a ticket for every, this and that. I mean, you can take what you want, but I've done 10,000 of these things. I
Yeah,
mean, this is this is what works. And most people are okay. And if they want to do something else, I mean, if they're insistent, I'm not going to get in their way. I mean, I'll let them do something. I'll let them do what they want to do. But I always lend my expertise, and this is what 47 years in the business tells me that we should do it this way. If you
yeah,
want to do it another way, I mean, I'm in the game. I'll play along, but this is how it should be done.
absolutely. How about you, Scott? Any other thoughts from your end over there?
I think Steve covered everything, but
No, Steve did not cover everything, but he
yeah,
covered.
I could do another 50 minutes.
well, it's from
know you could.
a someone
Ha!
inside the bubble. It's definitely been a journey. We've kind of gone through a lot of phases. We've gone through recessions, we've gone through pandemics. I mean, not many generations get to say they survived the pandemic.
Before you were born, Steve went through the Great Depression.
Yeah, exactly. The Dust Bowl.
It's funny though. I didn't go through the recession, but there was 1987. Where, like all of a sudden, I'm rolling in like 1987. I started. I think I did 12 parties my first year. By 87, I was doing a couple hundred, and all of a sudden it stopped. You know, I mean, there was a recession, and I remember we were doing a job in Hot Springs, Virginia. There's a resort out there, and I used to get passenger vans where I'd load 16 people in a van and, a cooler of some sodas and chips and send them down somewhere and buy them dinner and we do a party, It was 4 hours in the mountains, let them drive home at night. I always got a good driver. And they called me on a Monday. It was a Black Monday or something. And they said, stock market's going down. We're going to call you back in an hour, and see if we're going to do the party. I was like, I got everything all ready for you, They said, then they called back and said, not doing the party. And I had gotten a deposit then. You didn't get that often back then. And I said, well, I can't return it. He said, I don't care. We're canceling the hotel. We're canceling everything. So, I mean, the corporate work just dropped. And the corporate work had been such a thrill. I remember calling, I think it was Ford Motor Company, and I called them, were we doing the party this year? He goes, we just laid off 12,000 people. I said, the people you still have, you want to let them know they're appreciated. It's a good idea to have the party. He goes, no, I don't think I can get away with it. So you had to pivot, and at that point, I learned the social calendar. I learned to do the bar mitzvahs, to do the special birthdays, even if it was 3-4 tables, in somebody's den or lanai or something, and you have to the military, the Marine adage, you got to adapt and overcome. So I learned that.
I think one thing about this industry is that you really have to meet people where they are. You know what I mean? It's not a brick and mortar business where they come to you. You really have to come to them. And we've definitely had our fair share of fun setups over the years. So
I mean, we had hurricanes that rolled through here, and I had deposits from Goodwill, but I wasn't going to take Goodwill's money. I gave it back to them. They needed that money to help the community. So. So, I mean, back in the day, I mean, you didn't get 50% up front. You didn't get anything. Some of these corporate things were 30, 60, 90 days pay, and you had a PO order, So sometimes it was hard to make payroll. I didn't have that money up front. We have that luxury now where we have the retainer, as we like to call it, and if they don't do it, you forfeited your retainer. But I didn't have that luxury back then. So I would sweat out every weather forecast, everything, because you weren't getting the money if it didn't happen. You didn't have it. You were pay as you play, kind of thing. So
Absolutely.
It's changed, and it's changed in a good way. So it's much easier now.
I think the business was, in a lot of ways, you were kind of gambling while just doing the business.
I was gambling in so many ways. Okay. Because sometimes I was going gig to gig, and I have to borrow money to make payroll because I wasn't getting paid for 60 days, 90 days, who knows when, I mean, I'd get paid. It was corporate, but it was different. It was a different world. It's a better world now. For us, it is, at least.
In some ways.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think so too. It's a blessing. It's all a blessing that we get to do all of this, and we really get to enjoy our day to day.
And all the bad things have happened have turned out. I think everything bad is good because you live and you learn. So I mean it's all good, and I'm still here and I'm still having fun. And I think one of the things I didn't mention that I want to mention is the people that work for me. I mean, these are people, and most of them, they have jobs, they have things, but they need that extra money that we provide for them. And that gig economy is really important. And I've asked the people, what do you do with that? I think I pay as well as anybody in the business, maybe better than most. And sometimes I give away money, like I'll have a raffle to start the gig for $100 bill or something, if it's a big gig and show up on time. And I've asked them, what do you do? I asked one woman, says, I visit my grandkids in Texas. I said, one girl who works for me says, I save the money and I go on cruises. One guy said, I get to take my wife out to dinner. I couldn't afford that otherwise. And someone just say, making ends meet. Things that we take for granted. The people out there, they're good people, good working people who are working, living paycheck to paycheck. And that extra money that we provide for them is a big deal. It's
absolutely
a big deal, and it helps them a lot. So, I mean, it's another thing that I just feel good about. I just want to close with something, positive. And
Absolutely.
Yeah, I like that.
That was a great segue. Like, to close it down, I feel like that is exactly what it's all about, right? Having a good time, doing good things, and making a good couple dollars in the process of it, right?
There you go.
Who was your first person that you ever worked for you dealing? Do you remember them or no?
First person that ever worked for me, I mentioned this guy. His name's Gordon Murray, and he was a broken down Vegas guy, and he was a character. He was a real character, and I really liked him. And he would teach me. He was almost a father figure, but at some point the guy, he was a cheat from Vegas, and he couldn't help it. He couldn't help cheating at my events, and eventually now I'm finding these people at these fundraisers that like didn't belong there, okay, and I know he was feeding them chips, and I had to fire the guy. And it really hurt me to fire this guy because he taught me everything. And I remember as I fired him, he said, "You turned into a squirrel." He says, "I taught you everything I know, and now you let me go." I said, "I have to, you got to do what you got to do." And I guess you can't change the spots on a leopard or something, And
he didn't quite get the energy from a fun night.
He had to give it up. He couldn't. It was just in his DNA. So you got to do what you got to do sometimes.
Got to do what you got to do sometimes.
I should end on firing a guy. I got to do something better. I got to do something better than that. I have to fire the guy that taught me everything.
The irony of that is that to get fired from Showbiz, we have a joke around the office. You have to do something colossally,
and it takes 3 times. Because everybody's allowed a strike or two, I mean, everybody's allowed a mulligan, but you keep doing it. All right.
If you get fired from Showbiz, you have to reevaluate your life a little bit.
You've made some bad choices.
Oh man, so
well,
good.
It's been a pleasure, Tom. I really enjoyed sharing a lot of stuff with you, and I think you're going to do a good job with your position in the association. It's great to have somebody. I've been in that position before, and I think you're wearing the right hat.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And any hat it's my honor to wear any hat that you've worn in the past, my friend. I feel like
maybe this one.
I'm gonna come down and get that one soon. I promise.
Yeah.
I had him put some cards on the side of it the other night. There
they are.
I was at a gig and they had an embroiderer there, and I said, "You give me some aces." I always like to get 4 aces.
That's nice. I love it. I absolutely love it. It's beyond a pleasure. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Steve, for coming out with us. We're definitely going to have to do more of this, but I would love to make sure everybody go check out the Showbiz channel on YouTube. I want to hear more of these type of stories coming from you guys on that channel. I'm always checking in, and I appreciate you.
Like, subscribe, give me a thumbs up.
I will do, and I hope everybody else does as well. Thank you, guys. Have a great one. So good.
Thank you, Tom. Thanks for putting this together.
Thank you.
Of course. Thanks, Tom. All right. Bye-bye.